that you did, recognizing what you had recognized. Um, it's 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 something to be said. When it seems as though, because this is something that we've been seeing in a few of the Caribbean nations, where the leaders of the party seem to really be detrimental to the other candidates. And you kind of hinted that that was the case. Do you think that this signals a change in leadership for the party moving forward? Do you think they'll be able to see that as an option?
Oh, yes, definitely. You go in various constituencies, and the persons may tell you, for example, I would not have voted for this man, but because of the leader of the party, he's going to get my vote. Although in the Caribbean, we don't have a situation where a prime minister is voted for, but the strength of a leader, it kind of disseminates into support for the candidates in the various constituencies. And this election, I believe the St. Lucians manifested, I don't want to say hatred because that's kind of a strong word, but the disgust, the disdain with the leadership style of Alan Shastney, who made decisions that did not redound to the benefit of the greater majority of St. Lucians, but essentially unjustly enriched those persons who are already rich. And that was his downfall. And I can tell you that although they are left with 2 seats and he is the leader up to now, that there were meetings within the UWP ranks already to demote him from being leader of the opposition and permit his junior minister who served under him to be leader of the opposition. That is the kind of sentiments that are being echoed within the rank and file of his own party. So if his party sees him in such that kind of light, far less the other solutions who do not belong to his party.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think for a lot of point. Well, did you have a follow up there?
Oh no, you could go ahead.
Yeah, I think for a lot of political pundits and political enthusiasts around the region, they're looking to see what your next move is, whether it be joining the SLP as a member of cabinet or reaching towards reaching towards being the top of the opposition, the leader of the opposition. Have you announced or said what direction you'll be going into, or is it too early to say?
Well, one would understand that a minister serves at the behest of the prime minister. And therefore, it's not my call as to whether I'm a member of cabinet or not. The thing is, if asked, I will give the nod. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Um, Leader of opposition to even rub shoulders with Alan Shastney, I don't think it's something I want to do at all. To be honest, I look at him in a very disdainful manner. A lot of the things he did were deliberately against the poorer people. He took our resources and landed them in the laps of foreigners. Can you imagine having what he perceives to be an investor come down here? He gives the guys a building, refurbishes it for $5 million, pays all the staff and pays utilities, and St. Lucia gets nothing out of it. His justification is that the people who are employed, they're 100, 200. That is the justification for spending that kind of money on that investor. But he has not brought in anyone here who came in with the money. He has taken the resources of the country and landed it in the laps of those persons who make millions. For example, there is a situation where some guys out of Canada, Cabot Links, came in. They came in with no money, bought 300 acres of land at some $30 million, and he had our National Insurance Corporation, which remains the institution with the largest repository of cash. They have a lot of money. He had them to lend the guys some 30 something million dollars. And those guys paid us off in no time because they advertised their sales on the European and American markets. And in no time they paid us off, and they already bragging. They have not built one structure, but they have made over 50 million US in profit, you know. And those are the kinds of things that really get St. Lucians on the wrong side upset, and they decided that they do what they have to do. But to answer your question, I will not rub shoulders with Alan Shastry. I decided not to do that over 9 years ago when he became the leader of the United Workers' Party. I'm not prepared to do it now. Me serving in cabinet is at the call or at the behest of the Prime Minister. And yes, I will enter that door as long as it's opened for me.
Jade, Azem?
Well, I mean, this is just an interesting turn because one thing that is in that I mean, even here in St. Kitts, we have persons who are looking on at elections in St. Lucia and thinking to themselves, like, how is it that the people seem to be so politically independent with their vote? Seeing these shifts from one party to the next. Sometimes in these incredible swings. That's something that I admire because it doesn't seem to be the case in a lot of the other Caribbean countries. What do you think are some of the main reasons why the St. Lucian people are so willing to act that way?
First and foremost, you have to look at the strength of the candidate because I don't think a political novice can waltz his or her way into the political arena unless conditions are such. There is a swing against one government or a swing in favor of another government, that kind of thing. Party, if one can going. There's not a situation, like I said, you have to look at the strength of the candidates. The other independent candidate was Prime Minister Stephenson King, in whose cabinet I served between 2006 and 2011 as Minister of Physical Development, Housing, Local Government, etc., the Environment, etc. I served in his cabinet. He himself has contested the elections about 5-6 times from 87 or thereabout. So he's no novice. He has been there. He's a heavy puncher. He's a heavyweight, and he's seen as one of those who will make a difference, in the government. So it is not as independent as it may appear. It is an independent person who has had ties with the people in that constituency. And for me, it's the same. This, like I said, is my fourth election, third general won by, and the people know me. They know me. They know what I'm made of. They know how I work and my level of execution. So I believe the independence of a candidate must be juxtaposed to the strength of that candidate before one can say this independent candidate is likely to win.
Totally understand.
One of the things I'm curious about is what's your hope for the SLP government? What do you hope that their mandate should be or would be going forward, leading the people of St. Lucia for the next 5 years or so?
Just put the people first and lead with transparency and accountability. A lot of the decisions that were made by the last government, were not inclusive or did not redound to the benefit of the average poor St. Lucian. I'll give you an example. There was a distress fund. A lot of the houses in St. Lucia, like Antigua, plywood or plyboard, however you want to call it, houses, wooden houses. which do not qualify for insurance coverage. So what Sir John did from almost time immemorial, he established what is called a distress fund. And that distress fund was, a fund there so that if anything happened, in the family is faced with a calamity, whether man-made or natural, and that house is destroyed, you would go to your rep and your rep can invoke the assistance of the minister in charge of that distress fund, and they can get some kind of reprieve, some kind of relief from there. It was for that purpose and that purpose alone. You have a prime minister who does not understand what happens locally. And one of the first things he did, um, under the guise of cutting costs, was defunding the distress fund, which was basically a fund for poor people. Now, when you do that, there was another program called STEP, another one called NICE, to take off unemployed people from the streets, especially single mothers. He stopped all those programs. So in essence, the majority of people who are the poorer people were given the rough end of the stick under the last administration. And that is why they voted in a resounding manner. So as long as you put the people first and you govern with accountability and transparency, I do believe that this government will be here to stay.
Jade, Azem, I don't know if you guys have a final question before we allow Mr. Frederick to give his final comments to at least the people of St. Lucia who are living in St. Kitts and Nevis and those who are living in Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, I mean, I just want to give congratulations. And, we really look forward to the work that he would undoubtedly do as an elected official. Good luck.
Thank you.
And same from us here. Good luck and all the best. Definitely a historic moment for the region. I'll just give you an opportunity to say your final words to the people of Antigua and Barbuda and to those of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I probably will give my final words to politicians and aspiring politicians. Just deliver to the people, and 95% of your work is done. Too many times that politicians make promises that are so outrageous that they cannot see fruition. Politicians must stay away from that habit. Stay away from that habit. Stay away from the habit of buying votes. Buying votes and that kind of corruption in politics. There is no place for that, because you buy votes, you turn your back. For the next 5 years, you believe you've paid someone for his or her franchise, and so you fail to deliver. So essentially, politicians should work in the interest of the majority of the people. Not all decisions that you make or take would be embraced by all and sundry. You would always have pockets of persons who disagree, but you must be guided by the desires of the majority. To the electorate, I say, in a politician, what you look for is his ability to deliver on, a better quality of life, a better social setting, a cleaner environment, and the list goes on and on. And once he can perform, not necessarily for you personally, but for your community, your constituency, and by extension, the country, is one to embrace.
On that note, I say thanks to you, MP-elect Richard Frederick. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best in your future exploits. But before I go, I have to ask our friends in Thailand. People want to know where Kevon is. He should be here. We want to know what's going on.
Kevon is in space today.
He's out on a secret mission.
Yeah, we sent him on a secret mission. But hopefully,
I thought you would have said that it had something to do with what he's drinking or what he has been drinking in the mug or the coffee.
Oh no.
No, man, no. He's on a special mission this week, but he should be back with us next week.
Very well. I think we were treated to us a very special interview this morning. I was looking forward to this, and I think definitely Mr. Frederick delivered.
For sure.
I don't know. It's I don't know. I think as the political enthusiast, I think having a field day with this, because as usual, we don't expect independent candidates to win. And although this has happened on extraordinary circumstances, both men having history with the main parties, so to speak. It's interesting to see this development.
For sure it is. But
anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying it's been a real pleasure. I'm talking to you this morning. Always a pleasure to link up with our friends in Antigua.
Definitely.
For sure.
Hopefully, somehow I'll find myself in St. Kitts and Nevis sometime soon. I do enjoy being there, and the U Lounge is a special touch.
Oh.
So I don't know if I'll be coming back in that capacity, but hopefully. Fingers crossed. I know you two are diplomats down there, so you can pull some strings.
Well, Jade is definitely. But yeah, man, definitely. Make sure you visit sooner rather than later, and we'll hopefully be in Antigua soon as well. So
hopefully, if we're allowed.
Well, thank you guys for joining us once more. See you next week for another regional link up.
All right, man. Take care.
All the best.
And that was this week's edition of Cross Caribbean Link Up.
Yes.
I had fun, Jade. I mean, the thing is, this situation that's happening in St. Lucia, I think it really garners the attention of people all over the Caribbean and probably the world, because it seems as though things are happening that when we think about it happening here, it just seems like such a crazy possibility, yeah?
Right?
But
it's funny because we spoke about it this week, and then look.
Yeah. But yeah, boy.
Yes, he does, Witty. Yes, he does. I don't know.
Witty, what are you talking about? Jade is a diplomat.
He definitely does.
When I tell the truth about Jade, people get upset. I don't understand. But guys, we're gonna take a short break and be right back with more Island Tea right here on WINNMedia SKN. Stay locked, stay tuned.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Morning, guys. Welcome back to Island Tea right here on WINNMedia SKN. Jade, it's Friday and the week. I think the week has given us a good swift kick in the pants.
Yeah, man, it was.
You started to feel it, right? You're feeling it, right?
I tell you this morning how I feel. Like, I woke up today and I feel like I've been running all week.
Well, you know what's gonna make you feel better?
What?
How about the COVID update?
Is it now?
But guys, let's do the COVID-19 situation report. And this one is as of Thursday 29th at 6 p.m. Okay, so we have some new cases. We have some new cases
definitely.
being reported. And that's the number for this report is 7. So we have 7 confirmed cases in the last 24 hours. That brings the total number of cases to 589. Now, since 542 of those have recovered, and we've had, unfortunately, 3 deaths, that means we now have 44 active cases here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Vibes.
Yeah.
Vibes.
I mean, I'm glad to see the numbers still staying low, but
Definitely.
and the funny thing is, you realize how low changed over time.
Yeah.
You like 10, like remember at time 10 would have been like, oh my god, the sky is falling,
Yep.
and now we're just like, oh, it's under 50.
Yes. It is under 10, so we're happy. I mean, I still prefer 5 and under, but you know.
I mean, for the active case, the new cases.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the active cases, you know. Like the thing with the active
Oh.
cases is like, at one point when we had like 2, 3. Remember we had the first couple cases last year. Everybody was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Now we're under 50 and everybody's like, yes.
Hallelujah.
Oh boy, perspective is a mystic thing.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but guys, that's kind of what's happening. And again, we try to remind everybody and encourage everybody to just be safe, adhere to the non-pharmaceutical protocols, sanitize, social distance, wear masks, people. Wear masks.
Do all the good things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but I know this thing is like, the non-pharmaceutical protocols is like Father Abraham.
Why? Because they're
Non-pharmaceutical protocols.
the variants are evolving.
They had 7 of them. 7 of them are non-pharmaceutical protocols.
The variants are evolving, guys.
I know all of them, and so do you.
What the?
So let's...
Azem, be quiet. Be quiet, okay?
Oh. Sanitize, wash your hand.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done. But yeah, it's like one of them things that they just kind of pung into your head as children. As a matter of fact, big up to Father Abraham, because that's the only way I could remember what was my right hand and my left hand when I was young.
He and his many sons.
But
He and his many sons.
he and his baby. Oh, they don't make us sing some weird things when we smile, eh?
Listen.
Oh, you know the thing about it too?
Oh.
You ever... Okay, probably not. Only me just do these kind of things.
What?
Like investigate
No, some of them none. Some of them dark bad.
the nursery rhymes?
Yeah, but some of them, like, especially like...
Oh my gosh.
Who is this one?
All of them are dark.
Jack and Jill fell down the hill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill, yeah.
Dark.
Humpty Dumpty too.
Dark. Mary quite contrary.
Oh, don't matter
Dark.
about that. Guys, just go on YouTube and type in dark nursery rhymes. You can blow your mind.
One
You'll
of them
never
was about a plague. I can't remember which one it was.
Which one is about the plague?
One of them was definitely about a plague.
I know this one too, like, but all of them dark.
But yeah.
Oh.
Little bit, I didn't know that. I don't remember if that
Little bit dark too. All of them dark, Jade. Because what was happening was, that is how they would like convey like these stories. They'll make these little nursery rhymes to convey the story in a way that is less offensive almost and
Right.
creative. It was just
And no we stick. No children singing about plague.
and beheading.
And beheading.
Yeah, it's pretty. A lot of them have to do with like kings killing other people and so.
So you go.
Yeah, but yeah, weird tangent.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh wait, before Joseph said nobody sing this song, it's you gotta do the hee today.
No, but you're crazy. I don't
It's
have the energy to do
tea
nothing.
time.
Hee.
Yes.
Yes, Ring Around the Rosie was about a plague. I knew it.
Yes. Ring Around the Rosie, yes. And that has to do with the little bumps. Yeah, the little bumps.
As them see the people are pressuring us about this. Like before we even start the story, we got 2 fresh messages about the story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
People want to talk about this
I
thing?
don't want to talk about it, boy. Don't undermine.
The funny thing about it was when we spoke about this the last time, people were just kind of
Brush it off.
brush it off and thing.
I think before you think we should read the article first or play the video first?
Let's play the video and then we could discuss it.
Well, the audio because y'all can't see it, but you know.
But was it all a facade? He's now pleaded guilty in a U.S. federal court to money laundering. Let's get more on all this from CNN's Larry Nadeau. Larry, so I've just been going through this Instagram account. It's like your typical influencer bling account. It's the cars, the clothes, and shocker, it's not authentic.
And none of it was authentic because he claimed to be a real estate developer who seemed to have an appreciation of the finer things in life, the private jets, the luxury, everything, and now pleading guilty to defrauding a Qatari businessman of $1.1 million. And when they did get that money, he spent $230,000 to buy an expensive watch. He also spent another $50,000 to bribe somebody in St. Kitts and Nevis and fake a marriage certificate to get citizenship there. And the Department of Justice in the U.S. saying that he's admitted to his role in a ring of cyber scams, money laundering that led to losses of $24 million. So.
Well.
You know he's snitching.
Big up. There's nothing to snitch about. Who you can snitch on?
Whoever he bribed.
It's just a woman. Just like this happens daily.
No, he bribed an official in St. Kitts apparently, allegedly.
I ain't
They
saying
will snitch on him, man.
Nobody
He
studying
actually
that.
going- Who?
I don't marriage certificate.
No, man. I feel like. Anyway.
You think
know.
so?
Yep. Boy, he gonna sing like a bird.
I think this is gonna be the last we hear Hush Puppy.
I don't think so. 'Cause last time we thought it was the last, and then here we are again.
I know. I know he was gonna.
You
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Good old cousin Pops, bye.
But the funny thing about the cousin Pops. But the good thing about this is that it's like the story that just keeps on giving.
Of course.
And obviously, we announced earlier this week that the that we're having a press conference from the Premier of Nevis, and here he is in the news again. I'm speaking about this the same exact story, and the headline is Brantley: absolutely no allegation against a government official in the Hush Puppy scandal. St. Kitts and Nevis, yes, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Mark Brantley, rejects allegations that claim that a top government official was bribed to provide Mr. Hush Puppy with a passport to the CBI program. And Brantley says, I want to make it very clear that based on the little I have seen in the public domain, there is absolutely no allegations being made against any service provider or government official in St. Kitts and Nevis. Last year in a statement, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Harris, said claims that suggest that the fraudster used the CBI option to obtain a passport were false. The Prime Minister said Hush Puppy married Shawana Nakisha Chapman, a 32-year-old Kittitian-born citizen of the United States. Ms. Chapman, a resident of North Carolina, USA, married Hush Puppy, thereby conferring him with the right to St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship, the Prime Minister said. Watch it, right? I'm looking through this, right? And I'm looking at his pictures, and you could just tell these are like the staged photos. Like, I have a friend that runs this exact business out of our house.
You do too much when you do too. Anyway, continue the story.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting. The UK Guardian newspaper reported that the United States Department of Justice, in a statement, said that Hush Puppy and other conspirators defrauded a Qatari business person by claiming to be consultants and bankers who could facilitate a loan to finance the construction of a school for US $1.1 million. The Department of Justice said that Hush Puppy used the proceeds from the fraud to acquire citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, the funny thing about this, right? Like, I could deal with Robin Hood types.
Yeah, it's
Right.
take from the poor. I mean, the rich, give to the poor.
But this thing's supposed to be a school, guys. Like,
The man said the Richard Mille
Come
life
on,
come
for the-
before the school
for
life.
the kids, man.
What?
It
Think
should be-
about what kids.
Think about the kids.
And they're going to floss into our Instagram.
You're right. Because according to the indictment document, Hush Puppy used approximately $230,000 of the stolen funds to purchase a Richard Mille watch. For those of you who don't know what that is a watch.
A very expensive
Well, obviously, it costs $230,000. People
One
like
watch.
I have a serious problem with watches, so I know what that is. But I never in my life I could see myself. Yes, I'd admire it from afar. But not only that, it's not just that he purchased the watch. The watch was actually hand delivered to him in Dubai and subsequently appeared in his social media post.
As he showed it.
I mean, if you're wearing you saw the pictures of Jay-Z at this brunch like 2 weeks ago, and like every picture he's like showing off his $3 million watch. Like it's like you have to floss it. If you spend all this money on a watch, like it don't matter what the picture is, it has to be in the picture.
But the thing is, you have to spend your money.
Yeah, that's generally how it works.
Yeah, you can't spend other people's money. But it's interesting that we're always in the news, It feels like every time we make the news recently, it's something that we should make the news for.
But not only that, it's kind of like we're making the news for these things and we don't actually know anything about it. We don't actually know anything about it. It's like, who knew that we had, what do you call them? with the Chuxi thing.
What do you mean?
The singers came up in the story because of the guy that was torture. How we know we had torturers like specialized here in St. Kitts? We didn't know. We didn't know because we keep ending up in these stories. Nobody knew about Hush Puppy until this.
No. That's what I tell you. It's like we don't just make the news and then we just be like St. Kitts again.
But we didn't even know what we're doing.
Sorry.
Yeah, tell me Chuxi couldn't come here and build the school here instead?
Chuxi.
Not Chuxi, sorry, Hush Puppy.
Cousin Pops.
And that wasn't it, like other illicit proceeds from the scheme were allegedly converted into cashier's checks, including $50,000 in checks that were used by Hush Puppy and a conspirator to obtain a passport by creating a false marriage certificate and reportedly bribing a government official.
That's what I want to know.
That ain't happen.
I tell you, he gonna talk, He gonna talk. You know why he gonna talk? Because he gonna be offered some sort of sentence reduction for talking.
No.
You don't think so?
Come on, Jade, you think America cares?
Yeah,
America does not care who the government official he bribed.
They do, because they
what are they getting out of it?
Nothing, but I mentioned it in the story a couple of times. I feel like they care.
Yeah, but they don't care. They're not gonna offer Hush Puppy. They're not gonna offer Hush Puppy anything, and nothing gonna come out of it.
So we ain't gonna know.
Right? You hear Drip say, no government official has been accused of anything.
But he's supposed to say that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. You ask if we gonna know, I tell you, nothing goes so. Nothing goes so.
Boy. What a thing, eh?
But you see, this is the thing, guys. Let this be a lesson. Right?
Because I don't feel like we listeners and viewers are scammers.
Okay. No, this is the thing, Jade. There are very few people that are straight up scammers, right? What happens though is that people have these goals that they feel they can't achieve any other way, and so they get involved in some kind of scam. A lot of what this dude was doing was just flossing you.
Social media gonna be the downfall of a lot of y'all. It already is anyway. So
yeah, like these okay, I was talking about my friend, right? He has a warehouse that he leases.
Mm-hmm. So they could go in there and take pictures and
all it is, yeah, it's like different little stages where it's little rooms, like it's just a little room, you just walk in and take a picture. One is like you're on a private jet. One of them is like you're one of them, they have like the cars, they have green screens, so they could do whatever type of picture you want. And the Instagram influencers just go in there and they just rotate and take all these pictures and then just put them up over time. So it looks like you're traveling all over the world, like, oh, I'm in Bali this week. Like, oh.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Why?
Because people stay going and giving them what they want, which is attention. Like, I can't understand, like, I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I don't understand
How
it.
much, which bill of attention I mean, it does pay bill sometimes, attention pays bill sometimes.
Like, but why are we, like, see, this is my thing. I am not really as confused by them doing it. I'm confused by the fact that it's profitable for them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we so concerned with people? I cannot understand it.
Neither me. It's weird, but yeah.
No, but what do you mean? Like most people, they spend a big chunk of their time just looking at what other people put up, which is not necessarily anything of substance.
No.
I don't understand it. Like, somebody needs to explain it to me, please.
Well, social
Like,
media was the downfall of our good cousin Pops. So let this be a lesson to you guys.
Yeah, attention is not always worth it, guys. It's a hell of a drug, but it's not always worth it. I wonder whether Richard Millie been on by.
Somebody asking if we're suggesting that the PM's explanation of how Mr. Hush Puppy acquired is false, whereas the FBI's version is correct. Huh? Not sure.
I have been stating over and over again that one, that's what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened.
May not happen either.
But to be honest, I more believe that. I'll be honest. I more believe that.
Which one?
The government's position, because it happens all the time. Like, petitions do it all the time. We go up there, pay a man $10,000.
Oh, you
marry somebody
and to marriage and
why,
be fathered. Okay.
Like, why would you have to bribe a government official to get citizenship?
Sure.
When you like, if
bribe a citizen.
Yeah, you could literally just give money to a nice young lady. Help her out with some of her bills and thing, and yeah. So I don't know. And not only that, bear in mind that both could be true.
Both can be true.
Yeah,
yes.
Both can be true. Yeah, this ain't nothing new. Like, this ain't nothing new.
Well, he's supposed to be sentenced this week. Well, next week probably, because this week is finished. So if we have that update for you guys, we'll tell you how much time he has to spend in, jail.
Yeah. But we have a caller, Jade. Good morning, caller. You live on Island T. Did somebody offer you money to marry them? Oh.
Asking people them personal questions.
Good morning, caller. You live on Island T. What's up? Morning.
Good morning. Sometimes I think many people are extremely naive about this corruption thing, First of all, corrupt officials and politicians don't go around with a jacket and tie with a sign marked corrupt on their backs, right? They normally cover their tracks. They're very difficult to get caught, right? And, I listened to your piece on St. Lucia this morning, and obviously corruption played a part in the outcome of the elections. But yet yesterday on the regional news program, the same crony that was mentioned of Chastanet was daring anyone to find any evidence of wrongdoing and corruption that he engaged in while he was a minister, And that's because he probably covered his tracks. And Mr. Brantley and the government generally have a very poor record on investigating any wrongdoing or things that happen that are untoward. I mean, Mr. Brantley in particular, who came out very quick and was very dismissive of this when asked by a reporter, okay? But, he when you look at his record on investigating, for instance, the security breach at RLB, and the conduct of our now ambassador to the UN. Can you really trust him to investigate this? Huh? This, if there is something here, okay, and the mere fact that our name was mentioned in this case, and I think on the CNN news report, the mere fact that this happened should warrant some kind of investigation. It's interesting to note that I specifically asked Mr. Brantley on his talk show about the appearance of what you call impropriety, so to speak, of the UN ambassador appearing on a partisan show that denigrates other citizens. And you know what he said? Basically, has the ambassador sullied the reputation of St. Kitts? Only if that has happened would I get involved. In other words, the bar is set so that even things like this would not be investigated. And I think that is unfortunate and is indicative of this kind of dismissive show me the evidence kind of thing, instead of I'll investigate and make sure that our good name remains intact, that our officials are above board. That is what it should be about, okay? Not brushing things under the carpet as this, as Mr. Brantley and the government seems intent on doing. Okay then.
All right, thank you. This idea of corruption and investigating and sweeping things under the rug and thing, like, this ain't a political thing, eh?
No, this is a regular.
Yeah, it's a regular, like, yeah. As a matter of fact, like, you hear complaints about it in the medical profession. People would assert that it's difficult to get investigations done on doctors who might have, done some malpractice suits and them things. Like, it's difficult because you're going to other doctors and they kind of protect themselves. Same thing happens with lawyers as well, and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, this is something that permeates society all the way through. It's like for instance, right? I remember one time I was talking to a police officer, and he was complaining about, the fact that, and this is something that we probably cannot speak on right after this. He was complaining about the fact that, persons would know things, don't say nothing, and he keeps saying, like, the no snitching policy isn't really good for anybody. And I'm like, but bro, that is not something that is unique to criminality in terms of, like, gangsters and gang members and ghetto people and things. Like, nothing, like, the police and always do it. So that idea of, like, the system protected itself and that kind of thing is something that is built into the system. We've been hearing all these talks about corruption and anti-corruption laws and putting things in place to be able to hold people accountable. That does sound like a whole bunch of talk shop, guy. Right. Hopefully we get to a point where it's not the case. And I think that's what the caller is suggesting, that we need to move in that direction. But time can tell.
Maybe one day, with some wishful thinking, we might move in that direction.
But you know what? The sad part is too.
Oh.
A lot of times, if these investigations do happen and there's some type of, hey, somebody did something that really they should not have done, a lot of times people really just don't care. If you don't affect, for instance, let's say there was an investigation here and it came out that, like, dude paid some money somewhere to somebody to kind of help out with the situation. People ain't gonna care.
No.
People ain't gonna care. Small subset of people are gonna make noise. People are calling on the radio, talk about it, blah 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 blah, and then nobody really care.
No, I really don't think so, because it won't affect them. Like, we've had little money go missing here, time and time again, and then it's just like you don't hear nothing else about it. So
no, I mean, I'm talking about even if the investigation is done, proof is found. This particular type of thing, like, people really just seem to not really care too much. But caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Feel free to call back, guys.
Yeah. But
What else,
yeah,
what else we have on what?
But no, but I think it's interesting to see that we're here talking about corruption and people being able to do investigations. And the truth is that the police right now are asking for some help with their investigation into the Newtown homicides.
Yep.
A police statement on the shooting death of 2 young men in Newtown on Tuesday says officers arrived on the scene after 8 p.m. and found the motionless bodies of 2 gentlemen in the vicinity of Carty Alley. Man.
Right.
I was trying to avoid even just reading the names. So I'm just saying, preliminary investigations so far have revealed that the 2 men were sitting at the junction of George Street and Carty Alley when armed mass assailants approached and fired several gunshots in their directions. Both men were struck several times about the body. One of the men died at the scene, and the other was transported to the JNF General Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. The scene was processed by personnel from the Forensic Services Unit, and several items of evidential value were taken into custody. Now, guys, the law enforcement officials are appealing to anyone with information on the homicides to contact the nearest police station or call the crime hotline, which is 707, and this can be done anonymously. You can also call the Violent Crime Unit. The numbers are 467-1887, 467-1888, or you could call 662-3468. Again, rest in peace to the deceased. And
unfortunate events.
Yeah, and again, I just keep thinking about the communities, like
right?
The communities, like it's just.
Imagine you're just there chilling with your friends, and then next thing you know, you lose 2 of your friends.
Ain't even about friends, Jade. They ain't gonna be nothing to me. It's not cool when you're in your house. This happened at 8 p.m.
So everybody just.
So this happened at 8 p.m. You're literally in your house watching The Voice, and you have to be running to grab your children to put them on the ground because shots are going off like down the road. Right? Like, this ain't cool. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Like, children shouldn't be going to like dance class the next day and talking to their friends about the gunshots they heard last night.
Trust me, I've heard, and as an adult, I've heard gunshots. I know as a kid, it could be very traumatizing.
Yeah. Again, condolences to the friends, loved ones, and family of the deceased. And guys, yes, if there's any information,
please share.
The police are asking for your assistance. Helping to doing justice in this situation.
Speaking about injustice and situations.
Oh boy. So we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the protests that were happening in Cuba, and one of the things that we were saying that was so just interesting about the whole thing was the statements by the U.S. President. I think his exact words were, "We stand by the people of Cuba." And we thought that was also very interesting. But now we are hearing similar sentiments that we said here, echoed by the CARICOM community. The article reads, "Time to lift embargo against Cuba, CARICOM tells the U.S." So CARICOM countries have told the United States that its decades-old trade and economic embargo against Cuba has run its course and should now be lifted. I could get behind that.
Yes, indeed.
I could get behind that. In a July 26 letter sent to the President Joe Biden, CARICOM chairman and Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Uncle Gaston Brown said that strong and mutually beneficial relations have been developed between Cuba and the Caribbean countries over a 49-year period, and CARICOM regards Cuba and its people as valuable and respected members of our family of Caribbean nations.
Indeed.
Brown said that CARICOM has been and remains troubled by circumstances in Cuba where there is a shortage of food, medicines, and other basic needs that results significantly from the long-standing embargo and the more recent punitive measures imposed by the previous U.S. administrations. Brown said that the coronavirus pandemic has exacerbated this deteriorating humanitarian situation. All of this, together with the threats to its national security, have contributed to placing Cuba in conditions of abnormality, in which normal criteria and expectations cannot be applied. He also said it has run its course. CARICOM sincerely believes that it should be lifted so that all the rights to which the Cuban state and its people are entitled to can be respected and upheld. Under previous U.S. administration, of which you are part, significant strides were made in this direction and could be advanced to beneficial effect, Brown told the U.S. president. I mean, the truth is, it's one thing when governments have these ideological differences, but who really suffers?
The people.
Just the regular people.
That's the only sort of people who have suffered for all of these things. Not the politicians, not the people in high command, but the regular man.
This is the thing, right? No matter your view on the political ideology of the but I mean, you want to say rulers.
Where would it be? What are they, Azem?
Okay.
Quickly, what are they? Quickly.
Let's say politicians.
Okay.
in a country, no matter if you disagree on the ideologies, like, we have to remember we're dealing with people. We're dealing with people's lives. We're dealing with people being able to eat, people being able to access medicine. Right? Like this, like I think sometimes when we have these battles between, governments, a lot of times people are seen as this collateral damage. Like, it's just part of the game. Some people can die, some people can think, some people can be hungry, some people can have to do things to support their family that they really wouldn't do otherwise. And it seems like it's just cool. Like, it's years this thing going on with Cuba, yeah?
Since
since before I born, and I'm 700 and something years old.
And it's still going.
So, and then the thing is, you're going to have these politicians now talking like, oh, we stand with the people of Cuba. Please.
Okay, and then what?
Yeah, so do something.
You've been standing with the people of Cuba for years and nothing happened. So what is stand up different?
Maybe
standing up different?
Maybe this stand is like on the necks. Maybe that's what he mean. So it just really wasn't a complete thought. We've been standing on the necks of
like saying
of the Cuban people.
That's all well and good to say, oh, we stand with them, this is wrong. But what else you doing? If you so value them as people, what else you doing besides just standing? Because standing don't do nothing. You can stand all you want. What your letter supposed to do?
But I must say that I'm happy the stance that CARICOM has taken. I'm happy to
This isn't what their stance has been all the time.
Yes, but I mean, at the same time, there's nothing. What? Think about it. What is CARICOM going to do, other than highlight and speak and admonish the U.S. to lift the trade embargo?
I don't know.
Right, exactly. So, I think it's important, especially given the present climate, that CARICOM's position is very clear, and they're willing to speak out about it, because the truth is, as was suggested in the letter, Cuba has been a friend to these islands for years.
Listen, you see how people have been saying that they're waiting on the Cuban vaccine. It's like, we can't just look to Cuba when we need help. We have to offer help as well. We can't just keep taking and saying, oh yes, when it comes to medicine and stuff, let me go Cuba to do my surgeries, to get the vaccine and all of these things, and then you just leave Cuba to fend for themselves. Like, we can't just keep taking, because then we're just doing basically what the US doing.
I wouldn't say we're doing what the US doing, but yeah, I think it's just a matter that though we're in a funny position where the question is, what do you do?
As
I mean, outside of what is already being done, like, what do you do? What leverage do we have in terms of doing something that would influence the U.S. to lift the trade embargo on Cuba?
As CARICOM?
Yeah.
What influence CARICOM have on anything?
That's the whole question.
They don't have
that's what I'm asking you.
I don't know. They don't have no influence on anything at all. Like, what do they influence as a group? Help me. Nothing?
This is the question I'm asking. So and you're asking the same question. Me and you're asking the same question.
Why does CARICOM exist if they can't do nothing? If what are they just there for? What are they there for? What is the purpose of CARICOM?
CARICOM is there to foster, just like you said, a Caribbean community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to, in essence, really and truly, it's to help foster better trade relations between the Caribbean countries, and that in itself like filters down to a bunch of different things. So everything from to help facilitate movement of people between the countries, to regularize tariffs, to help us be a trade bloc when trading with bigger countries and stuff like that. So it's really to help us function better, right? But again, we're talking about the US. What are you gonna do? You ask nicely.
So basically, you're saying Cuba salt.
Cuba ain't salt.
Do we mean?
No. Cuba ain't salt. I just believe that what is probably going to be most influential are the Cuban Americans, the Cuban Americans in the U.S. I think they're the ones who have probably the most influence on this situation in regards to exactly how the U.S. actually proceeds.
That's America just does by.
The military dwarfs everybody else. Like, at the end of the day, I'll come back to that.
So because they have the best military.
Money, power, and influence. Yes, Jade. That's exactly.
So because they have the best military, they could do what they want.
Yes.
Interesting.
Like, but this is what people don't understand, right? From the time there has been humans on this planet, right? Violence has been employed to control, to impose, like, one set of people's will on another set of people. Like, it's as old as humanity. Like, violence is intrinsically linked to power and control. Violence and the threat of violence.
True.
Like, it ain't change now. I don't think it change anytime. Everything, all these things that we have, all this, everything is developed for military purposes, and then it just kind of filter down to us. Yeah? Everything from cell phones to the internet, like.
That is true.
Military might, violence is what does do it.
So you saying Cuba have to get violent?
No. What I'm saying is the Cuban Americans are probably the demographic that has the most influence on America's stance on this, outside of some other superpower getting involved in the situation. And I don't know what a superpower would be. Russia, I don't know. China, who knows?
Could be China because they're always in it too.
Good morning, caller 11 LNT.
Hey, man. Good morning, man. How you doing, man? You guys are just talking about Cuba for the day. Good morning, man.
Morning.
Is it the Cuba topic?
Yeah, we're talking about Cuba now, yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, I just wanted to input. I guess I was gonna mention and talk about along the lines that you were just talking about, but with the Cuban Americans. I believe that they have a lot of influence over what goes on, going forward. They should try to ratchet up the pressure, and even down there in Florida where they have a big Cuban population, they should try to ratchet up the pressure on the governor there and the politicians there, the representatives, to see if they can get America to come to the bargaining table. And this is a good time for bargaining to go on between Cuba and America, believe it or not, because if I was the Cuban government, though, I would probably loosen up my grip. But I'm not loosening up my grip unless America lifts the embargo. So somewhere along the line, there must be some type of bargaining done. And, my request would be to get America to drop that embargo. I don't know who's going to make the first move or how this bargaining is going to come to reality. But at this point, in order for the Cuban people to move forward, that embargo got to get lifted, bro. But the pressure got to be put on America. And, I don't know if, who's going to make the first move, but this is a good time for bargaining to happen. That's my contribution, man.
All right, man. Thanks. Yeah, bro. And I mean, I'm seeing some people on the live talking about how American Cubans hate Cuba, and yeah, there's that animosity. But I think what it is, they hate the government, right? They hate the government. I think that there's a recognition by most people that you can't have a embargo on a nation and it not affect the people. So these people have cousins, they have family, they have all this thing there. Like, what we're seeing now is protests not only about the Cuban government from Cuban Americans, but also protests against the American policies that are making it difficult for Cubans to live. In other words, they could have issues with both. Right? They could have issues with both, and I think that is what we're seeing now. I think we're seeing a situation where, yes, it's not that they like the present regime in Cuba, but they also recognize that, hey, like, these embargoes that you guys are imposing, punishing Cuba for their ideologies, and the Cold War being done ever so long ago. It's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
Ever so long ago.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. But this is the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think we will see a change.
You don't think so?
Not time soon.
I think we will. I think we will.
Soon?
Yeah.
With Cuba and America?
Yeah.
The America that we have right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, you have more faith than me. I have zero faith in America.
No, I don't. I have zero faith in. I have faith in America to do America things. So, yes, I believe that we'd see some relaxation of the embargo if we continue to see the Cuban Americans voice their opinions loudly. Remember, Florida is a swing state, right?
It is, but
what I do believe though is if there's a lift on what is going to happen is going to actually be a way for America to extract resources from Cuba.
If they lift the...
Yeah, so it ain't going to be like, oh, you know what, we realized we might have been moving a little tense.
Let's give these people back their stuff, their freedoms, their rights.
No, it'll be like, we're going to extract resources from here. That's pretty much, and that's how trade a lot of the times goes, so. Right?
Yeah.
So.
But I just don't have enough faith in America, so I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. But I'm like I said, I talked to some of the Cuban doctors that are here, and when you hear them talk about it, it's not nice. It's not nice.
Well, I didn't expect it to be, since it's been this way for years, and every year we see Cubans begging and pleading for America to do better. I feel like majority of the world have been begging and pleading for America to do better, but you know, we have yet to see them change.
Well, I don't. Okay.
America won't just be America, okay? And America is not what America thinks it is. So.
America knows exactly what it is.
No, I don't think so.
They know exactly what they are. Yeah, trust me.
America is exactly what they fight other countries for. Like literally, what they invade other countries and try to help with. That is what they are.
But this is the thing with this goes back to like human nature, and I'm seeing it now with like this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just highlighting this thought that I've always had.
Which is
people don't really want like freedom.
What?
People don't really want freedom.
What do I want?
People like to feel as though like they have freedom, but they don't really want it. Okay, I'll give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the outrage about wearing a mask. Even here, let's go. Even here in St. Kitts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have this pandemic going on.
Oh well.
We've been told that, hey, guess what? This thing moves with people. One of the main ways that this thing spreads is when droplets from like your nose and your mouth spread around the place.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna ask you to wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where people decide they ain't doing it so much, they decide you know what, if you don't wear a mask, you gotta pay some money.
Mm-hmm.
There are people still cussing. People
Mm-hmm.
don't like it. People don't like to have to wear a mask.
That.
But these same people run around and have no problem when the government putting up cameras all over the place and encouraging them to do so. You like the easy fight.
We're lazy.
You like the easy fight. It ain't nothing about freedom. You just like the easy fight. You just like to feel like as if you're fighting for freedom. You're fighting for freedom.
Lazy.
Like it's like the things that we decide to fight for just make me like I just gotta shake my head, but I don't understand.
Human nature, Azem. You just said it. Humans will be humans.
Yep.
And this is how humans are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I think it's time for a little breaky break, you know? Quickly, we'll be right back with more. What's happening with us today? We will be back with more WINNmedia, with more Island Tea and WINNmedia.
Guys, we'll be back with more Island Tea right here with Media SKN.
I need all that, boy.
Yeah.
Energize your goals with Lucasade. Get it cool. Look under the cap. Find the code. Win it. Thousands in prizes. iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win $30,000 US. Purchase any Lucasade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucasade for $30,000 US to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucasade, taste the energy.
I have a surprise for mosquito, roach, and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Pop makes all of them die. To take care of my premises, I have to stand guard. Pop kill insects, small or large. When me use my yard, me no need no bodyguard. Pop takes care of roach in a house and yard. Surprise with mosquito, roach, and flies. Pop makes all of them die. Don't bother with the long chat, Pop tell you why. Get serious, get Bop.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
Good morning. Welcome back to Island Tea right here on WINNMedia SKN. And guys, it's time to eat local. On today, Friday, July 30th. It's Friday, Jade.
Yes, it is. It doesn't feel that way though, but you know.
Ain't nothing, man, because you know we got a friend in the studio with us today.
In
In the studio via Zoom.
Yes, yes.
In the studio via Zoom. And,
He's here in spirit.
And in truth.
Mm.
But guys, we're honored to have with us this morning Mr. Cory Tyson. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. You?
Bye. That's a tricky question, yeah.
Use my answer.
Go ahead, Jade. Tell him how we are.
We are fair to partly cloudy.
Well, the truth is, I'm good under the circumstances.
I got you.
One of the things I like to say, I don't like to complain to people who are in the same boat as I am. So, yeah, I complain to who could help.
I'm telling you. Hey, you ever complain to somebody that just hit you with it? I mean, yeah. Like
yeah.
Not verbally. Not verbally. In the mind, I'm like, I've been like, how is it? I don't care about this. But saying it out loud is very mean. So, you just have to try your best.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Yes, it is. But,
Yeah. But Cory, again, thank you so much for taking the time out to come and talk to us a bit about you. There might be one or two people listening who may not actually know who you are and what it is that you do.
You think so?
There might be one or two people. So for those one or two people, could you enlighten us, please?
Okay, well, Cory Tyson. I've been playing music and in the quote-unquote music business since I was a teenager. My first high school band, so to speak, we went on the road for Culturama way back when I was 15.
Wow.
So I've been in it in a while. Would have since migrated to the US, where I did studies in music production, sound engineering. Spent a little longer than I initially anticipated. Spent 12 years there, in which I would have worked with many artists, bands. I would have worked for a musical instrument company by the name of COG. I spent close to 8 years there with COG, and moved back to Nevis in 2008, in which I would have continued working with many of the local bands. Most notably would be Odyssey from Nevis, Ultra from Nevis, and more recently my own group, Core, which is a part of my larger entertainment company, Core Entertainment. So I think that kind of sums it up. There are a lot of blanks to be filled in, but I'm guessing that will come out through the interview.
Yeah, definitely. You've been somebody who's been synonymous with music here in the Federation for quite some time. You said actually since the age of 15 you've been playing in bands and performing. What part of Nevis are you from?
I am from the countryside, Gingerland, Hanley's Road, Gingerland to be specific. We like to say that we're the breadbasket of the Federation. Everybody knows Gingerland. If it's one area people know is Gingerland, people seem to know a lot about Cotton Ground too. Cotton Ground and Gingerland always come up.
Right? For sure. But getting involved in music at so young, like, what was the inspiration behind that? Is it that your family was involved in music, or is it that you got involved in music at school? Like, where did that musical spark get? When did you catch the bug?
Okay, well, I would say that I don't know if I would say I come from a musical family. But my mother played piano. My aunt plays. She still plays. Actually, she plays in church. She's a church organist. My father was always a lover of music. I was born into music. My father always had reel-to-reels and records and cassettes and so forth in the later days. He always had instruments around as well, even to this day. He had a drum set, he had bass guitar, he had a couple of guitars, he had organs, he had synthesizers. So he although he isn't wouldn't call himself a musician, he loves playing music. So I grew up with instruments in the house and hearing it. I was also fortunate that my next door neighbor, Miss Henry, was a piano teacher.
Okay.
And I convinced my parents to let me go to learn piano, which I did for a little while. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you may put it, that was also around the time when Burning Flames came on the scene.
Oh boy, yes I.
Right.
Change everything forever.
Yeah, I remember hearing Styly Tight, Left to Right on the radio, and I was just amazed with this new sound.
Right.
Because Burning Flames was just different than everything that was happening around that time. And a little boy hearing Burning Flames, I wanted to go and learn to play Burning Flames. And Miss Henry was not having that. I couldn't play the Burning Flames on her piano.
Right.
From there on, I started learning by ear. So I would play along with the radio, play along with the cassettes, and so forth. Being the battle culture being what it was, we started getting involved and hearing about the grandmasters and small axes and so forth. After that, with the whole drum machine, rhythm box thing, and although we didn't have any instruments, we had our little cliques in school, and instead of being I guess the word would the modern word would be gangs.
Right.
Instead of having gangs, we had bands. Right. And we had several bands with no instrument and no one really knowing how to play.
Yeah, but you have bands.
We had desks. We got bands. And we got desks and we got chairs, and we have sticks, and we're gonna bang on the desks, and we're gonna have your own session. Whoever who can bang on desk, bang on chair, who ain't banging on chair, have a boomstick and they sing it.
Right.
And that's how we started.
What was the name of this band? The band that you played?
My band was Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, okay.
Hot Shots, yeah. Named after the movie. I don't remember if you know that.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah.
Shots, yeah. So I was so lucky that most of the guys who were really into like music and so forth, and had that musical capability, they all gravitated towards my little group or our little group, and we sort of nurtured that. Picked up what we got. I have to say, thanks to my former agriculture teacher, Abo, and Albert Manners. Albert Manners had a band back then by the name of Magnets, and those two gentlemen in particular were very helpful to us. They saw some of the talent, and Abo would have had an M1. I remember when Abo got his M1, and he would allow us to come on over and check it out and play around with it. And same thing with Mr. Manners, Albert. I know he had a Grealisis, the HR-16, and I remember the day I was still I was in high school, man. I remember that day when Alberic allowed me to borrow it, to actually take it home for a weekend, and that was life-changing. Was life-changing.
It's funny how these little acts those impact your life so tremendously.
Yeah, man. So I had the thing, and for the weekend, and guys would come. You know, although we went to Gingerland High School, Gingerland High School, the St. James Primary, and VOGen in St. James. Also, those schools would feed into Gingerland, but guys knowing that I had the drum machine for the weekend, they made it way.
They reach.
Yeah, they reach. And, you know, it was just a moment for us that you know we had. I think I erased a couple of my father cassettes because we probably made about 3 lives.
That one.
Right, and you know, yeah, we were just in heaven.
Right.
So
from there you got the bug. From there it's over. This is what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you would have then graduated Gingerland, and at this point you're trying to make a decision as to where am I going to go with life? What am I going to get into? At this point, do you know that music is the direction you're going into?
As in, up until I was in 3rd form, going into 4th form, getting ready to do prepare for 6 season in 4th form. Up until that point, my mind was set on being a medical doctor.
Oh, medicine! Wow.
I'm telling you, I had the smarts, I had the intelligence, I had the questionable grades because you know music started getting in the way. But, I was always top of my class,
right?
And I was encouraged to pursue medicine and so forth. My mother, you know, she was all happy about me pursuing medicine, and that music bug really bit me.
Bye.
And in speaking to like Abo, and in speaking to Abo, Abo got some information from Berkeley. He got a Berkeley College of Music brochure or something like that, or pamphlet, something Abo had, and I got to reading it and so forth, and I saw all these different disciplines within the arts, music in particular, you know, music business, music synthesis, production, sound engineering, all of that, you know, and that really opened up my eyes to see, well, I could do something that I really, really love, and hopefully be successful.
Right.
And that is when my mind changed. My mind changed. I was like, I'd be really, really happy doing being in the medical field. Music was my passion, and I decided to pursue that. My father was always supportive, right? I had to wear down my mother a little bit.
Of course.
My teachers, and so forth. I don't want to say that most of them were disappointed. My principal at the time, Lynette Manners, was also very supportive. She was very she was the one who really spoke to my mother and told her, you know, you have to let the child be.
Right.
And yeah, that was it. I had full support from then until now.
Wow. I mean, it's always a blessing when you have parents who, even maybe with a little coaxing, you know, see the vision and allow you to pursue your passions. And we see in your case, thankfully, it's resulted in lots of success. You know, even to this day, I speak to friends in New York, and they still speak about BQE and the impact that had on music in New York. Like, Charlie, just tell us a bit about how BQE came and what it was, because I don't think a lot of people here even know the impact you guys had and the scene in New York.
Yeah, you know, it's only looking back I realized the impact that we would have had. What happened was, out of school, I did 1 year of sixth form, and realized that sixth form isn't for me, and I think I'll be wasting my time. So I went to work, and the truth is I got into working to buy my first skateboard. But that's the truth. I worked for 2 years after my first year of sixth form, and then in that 2 years I would have formed a new band with Tony Bartley, aka drummer, aka the one man band now.
Right.
Tony was, to me, an icon in my mind. He was very influential to me because he was playing with grandmasters in my formative years, right?
Right.
And I would, as the rhythm box man, right? So when we got to talking and we formed the Wildfire Band, we quickly rose to some success here in Nevis. However, I was able to learn what I would call the real bandman vibes. Learned about tuning up the system and how you get that band sound.
Right,
okay?
right.
So I got a lot of that from Tony. Now moving into New York, I had all of that fresh experience from Tony. And through a friend of mine who was also in Hot Shots, Patrick Howell, right? He brought me into to BQE. He was doing a little gig through the Hansmen, which are some of them from Elimat and the JS Brass fame.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought me in, and they were sort of impressed with what I had to offer. The then owner of the band, Vio Ogaro, saw my talent and saw my potential, and really to this day is like a second father to me.
Right.
And he really encouraged me to unleash. He gave me full reins, to make whatever changes I needed to make to the system, to the sound of the band and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had that sound, that small island sound that none of the local New York bands or any of the bands in the area
right
had, or the stateside bands to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And these were the times when small island bands used to be frequent in the tri-state area.
Right.
This is when small acts used to come up for almost the whole summer. Grandmasters, New Vibes, and so forth. And here we had BQE now, who had the same kind of sound. I was able to recruit some new members, some younger members, and so forth. So who had that passion and that kind of drive as well. Fortunately, one of the lead singers who had St. Kitts roots, but grew up in St. Croix and so forth, he had that VI kind of flavor.
Right.
So we were able to mix the St. Kitts Nevis style with the VI style and the Antigua style, and we were able to appeal to that demographic in the New York City area. So we started doing all of the big events. We started doing most of the Northeast Caribbean carnivals. So we would have been very frequent for Boston Carnival. We would have done Toronto. We would have done Washington, Maryland, New York, Jersey, Philly, Atlanta, Miami.
Wow.
Right? So we would have been very frequent there. And I would want to believe, looking back and talking about it now, it may have played a part in the downward of the frequency of the small islands coming up.
Because now we got the band here.
We were able, because we were able to deliver similar content for less cost to the promoter.
Right. Because you guys there already.
Right. So if anybody is listening and you feel that way, I apologize. It wasn't intentional. But yeah, that was BQE. We would have done 3 studio recordings over the years, and I think we were quite successful. We had quite impactful, and
for sure.
I'm happy of my tenure there. From time to time, we get together and do a reunion. Last would have been just before COVID really rampaged the place. It would have been in November 2019.
Right.
And was successful. Every time we do a little reunion, people look forward to it, because we kind of treat it as a throwback type of session.
Right.
Where we just do content from the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
It's always appreciated.
Yeah, man. I tell you, like I say, even to this day, I travel to New York and thing, and people still talk about BQ. Everybody got a BQE dance story that they're telling.
Right.
But you would have returned now to Nevis, and just like you had a group that you were so influential in. There, you returned to Nevis, and in your latest grouping, with Core, it seems as though you have a recipe now that just got the place locked, because Core, when it comes to Culturama, Core seems to be synonymous with Culturama in a way that it can't be denied. And it seems as though, you could tell me if I'm correct or if I'm wrong here, it seems as though you're using Core Entertainment as a way to really develop young talent. I really looking out from the outside, it seems as though that is one of the things that you're really trying to do. Is that the case?
Yeah, and that is how Core was born, actually. When we decided to form Core, it was 5 of us really: myself, Quincy Prentice, Jarvis Jones, Kareem Hubbard, and George Hunkins. Right? Myself coming from at that point it would have been a little bit of ultra fame, and prior to that Odyssey. I would have worked with Reese, Jarvis in Odyssey, and he would have then been playing with jazz.
Mm-hmm.
LL would have worked with me in BQE towards the later years. I would have brought him here to fill in for the drummer in Odyssey for a little while, and he ain't passed back yet. So LL and Karim and I would have worked together for a long time. But at that point in time, he was with Odyssey still, and then Quincy is my neighbor, and he would have worked with Kyrie and Roots, and Casanova, etc. George, childhood friend, was Hot Shot's original bassman, not really active in the music business like that, but I always had that passion. So when we decided to do Core, it was designed as a developmental tool to fill a niche where we saw that there were artists being developed more so on the reggae side, the dancehall side, and there wasn't really a backing band.
Right.
This was before Bacchanalist, I'd want to believe. Right?
Yeah, man.
Right. So we said, let's get together. We're gonna start developing artists, their stage performances, and so on, and also on the soca side.
Right.
Right. So when we started the company, and subsequently the band was just really designed to be a backing band.
Oh, okay.
To back the artists that we are developing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when the band, people started hearing the band and like, okay, well, they know how we could play, they know the potential of the musicians, and the band sounds okay. we started getting enough gigs. But what happened is that we started using our young talent and sprinkling it in with some of the established talent. So we would have done gigs with, like mentioned, we would have done gigs with Imran Jafaya from SK, Nicha, a cadre of artists, Tebulous from Ultrasonics and so forth. So every time the band played, it would have been like a different roster of artists. However, with the popularity of the band and the fact that all of these artists also had other entities, all of them were part of other bands and so forth, and they weren't always available, but the band started getting more and more bookings.
Right.
So we shifted focus a little bit and started using and really working on our young talent, right? And that is what really brought Delhi to the fore, Daddy Tusty to the fore, Naila to the fore, Ali D, and so on, right? So with the younger artists now getting that kind of exposure, and things just sort of took off. We also on the production end, I was adamant of trying to keep the SKN sound, because believe it or not, we do have a sound.
Right, we do.
Keep the SKN sound, but try as much as possible to dress it up, if I can use that word, to make it more palatable to a wider audience. That was my production goal, and it still is today. So, in that being the case, it sort of created a new sound. I want to believe, and that is what the core sound is. And a lot of people, are, I won't say following, because I think that's a bit. That's being narcissistic, right? Where if you would want to say following, but the song was able to influence. I think that's a more palatable word. influence others, because we're really trying to be more musical with the arrangements and more trying to be as lyrical as you can, more intelligent with the lyrics as much as you can. I mean, there's only so much you can do with bend over and walk up, eh?
Yeah, I feel you.
Right, but that's, like it or not, that's a part of the St. Kitts Nevis music.
Yeah, for sure.
So try as much as we can to diversify, dress it up and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're saying now really plays into what you're doing now. And we realize time is upon us. But quickly, you know the arts and culture manager, right?
Sorry. I did indicate to you that I had a 10 o'clock meeting, but that I was just told that the meeting has been pushed back to 10:30. So.
Okay.
If you want to keep me around, I can. You don't have to.
To run you? All right, man. I appreciate it. But
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Okay. But I know we have a show coming up next. But quickly, I just want you to, because of what you were saying in terms of CORE being a developmental unit, just tell us quickly about your present role now in the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. You now serve as the Arts and Culture Manager.
Yes. Initially, when I started with the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, the NCDF, I would have started in 2018. I was brought on as the music department director to sort of streamline the NCDF's music involvement in the schools. At that time we had steel pan classes in our schools and drumming in our schools. We did have a proposal just before getting into the pandemic on the table to introduce keyboard, bass, guitar, horns,
Oh, nice.
and music technology into the schools, right? Because what I find is that the band culture, at least in here in Nevis, bands as we know it are sort of dying, and the musicianship, availability of musicians in those areas leaves a lot to be desired. So we really wanted to beef that up. So, that was something that we were hoping to implement in the early parts of 2020, but
the pandemic had other things in mind, eh?
So here at the NCDF, I sort of changed gears just a little bit and really started focusing a lot on the development of musicians and artists as well, right? So sort of what we've been doing on the private side with CORE is what I'm hoping to get going here at the NCDF in the arts and music department.
Wow. Well, I mean, we right, and we really look forward to it because you've proven over time that is something that you are quite capable of doing, and we really look forward to hearing more and more about what you guys are doing over there in Nevis and what's coming up next. There's no cultural more, but I know you guys have a live coming up. If people want to just see where to know what's happening with you and CORE, where could they find that information?
Well, you can find us on all social media platforms. We're at CORE, the CORE Nevis. So you can find us on Twitter, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Pages are pretty active. You can always find me. I'm not hard to find. Cory Tyson. That's Cory. No E, simple and sweet. I ain't hard to find. You can call me. If you message me 621188. I'm always open and willing to listen and talk music, arts, and culture. Once I have the time.
Right, man.
Time isn't always on my side.
Well, I'm glad that you had the time this morning to come through and talk to us. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure when we link up. And I think that you're one of the people who have really inspired a lot of us who are coming after you to really get involved in music. But again, man, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and we look forward to seeing what you have coming up next.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Well, guys, it's time for us to wrap. And we really appreciate you guys logging in with us today. It's Friday. Stay tuned. We have
Miss Sandra coming up next with your view.
So don't go nowhere.
At all. Stay right here.
Yeah, guys, but just remember to deal with people with grace and love this weekend. You have a long weekend. Make sure you enjoy it. We're gonna be here next week. So don't forget to log in. We're still here 8 to 10 right on WINNMedia SKN on Facebook and YouTube, as well as you could check us out on Instagram at IslandTSKN. But guys, remember, you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you guys next week.